Welcome back to the Containment Zone, where every classified file is more than a record. It's a warning. Not everything that hunts you needs to move. Not everything that breaks you needs to speak. Today's file is about something that cries, but not out of sadness, not out of pain, out of inevitability. SCP-096. Designation: the Shy One. Object class: Euclid. No one knows where it came from. No one knows what it wants. Because it doesn't want, it reacts. And that is enough. Initial encounters date back to a failed expedition in the Hindu Kush Mountains. Altitude: over 4,000 meters. Visibility: nearly zero. But something, or someone, was there. Something pale, thin, weeping. The first description came from a mountaineering team that never filed a return report. They had set up a remote camp, aiming for an undocumented summit. What the recovery team found days later was silence, torn tents, frozen blood patterns that looked like they had been pulled from inside out. And on one of the camera cards, a blurred image, just a glimpse, of something long-limbed, bent forward, covering its face, eyes not visible. But somehow, you still felt seen. The photo was dismissed at first, a weather distortion, a frame anomaly, until an analyst assigned to clean and stabilize the image viewed it in full resolution. No one thought it would matter. The creature's face wasn't even fully visible. But 5 hours later, he was found collapsed in a stairwell. Bones shattered, walls torn open. The timestamp? 34 seconds after the file was viewed. And in the final frame of the security feed, something pale, screaming, moving at a speed the footage couldn't process. That was the beginning, not of an incident, but of a rule. Do not view SCP-096's face, not in real life, not in photo, not in video, not even by accident. Because if you do, no matter where you are, no matter how far you run, it will find you. And then, it will stop crying. For weeks after initial classification, SCP-096 remained docile, contained in a standard humanoid chamber, minimal lighting, no stimuli, no mirrors, no cameras, just concrete, cold air, and the sound of something crying. Personnel reported hearing low sobbing through the vents. At first, they logged it as psychological interference, until it started keeping people awake. The sobbing never stopped, not at night, not during containment tests, not even when sedated, but it never moved until it did. Incident Report 096-A, Site Delta 7, Time 3:17 a.m. A researcher, Junior Tech Monroe, was conducting maintenance near SCP-096's cell. Standard audio sweep, no visual feed, just a routine pass. Somehow, a microfracture on the containment wall had formed. Hairline crack, less than a millimeter wide, but enough for a security drone to capture an unintended still frame of SCP-096's face. No one saw the photo, except the drone AI and the junior tech who checked the footage. He didn't scream. He didn't call for help. He simply stared at the screen, stood up, and whispered, "It saw me." 17 seconds later, SCP-096 breached its chamber. It didn't open the door. It went through it. Steel, reinforced concrete, irrelevant. Security systems triggered, gates closed, tranquilizers failed, and then silence for 5 full seconds. Until the audio log ends there. But the site cleanup report is 37 pages long. There were no survivors in the direct line of sight, not even indirect. The drone was found embedded in a wall, bent in half, still powered on, and the last still frame it ever transmitted, a frieze of SCP-096's jaw, dislocated, open beyond anatomical limit, as it screamed its target's name. The Foundation rewrote its handling protocols that day and redacted 3 entire sections of the incident log, because this wasn't just a breach, it was a law of nature revealing itself. If you see its face, it will find you, it will hunt you, and nothing will stop it. SCP-096 stands approximately 2.38 meters tall. It has no hair. Its skin is pale, stretched taut over a skeletal frame. Limbs are elongated, especially the arms, which reach past the knees when fully extended. It lacks visible body fat. No external genitalia, no detectable muscle mass proportional to its strength, yet it can tear steel like paper. The face is indescribable, not due to distortion, but because even trained observers refuse to describe it. Post-interview transcripts are filled with phrases like, "It was wrong," "It wasn't a face," "I don't remember what I saw, but it saw me." Those who do remember don't live long enough to repeat it. SCP-096 spends most of its time in a passive state. It does not eat, does not speak. It sits, or stands, or faces a wall and weeps. Hours, days. It only becomes active under one condition: someone, somewhere, sees its face. This includes direct visual contact or viewing it through photographs, videos, even satellite images. And the moment that happens, something changes. SCP-096 enters what the Foundation calls a distress phase. It begins to scream, claw at its own head, pace, sob uncontrollably, and then it locates the viewer, instantly, regardless of distance. It does not track by GPS. It does not rely on scent or line of sight. It knows. During pursuit, SCP-096 reaches speeds exceeding 35 kilometers per hour in enclosed environments. In open terrain, far more. It has been recorded crossing entire continents in under 2 hours, breaking through Arctic storms, diving into oceans, moving through populated cities, without stopping, without looking at anyone else, because it doesn't care about anyone else, only the one who looked. Upon reaching the target, it enters a termination phase. Brutal, instantaneous. Bodies are often unrecoverable. Walls are destroyed. Limbs removed with surgical precision, and no apparent effort. After the kill, it calms, sits down, and weeps. Tests with blind subjects confirm the pattern. No danger unless the face is seen. Attempts to block viewing with black bars, blur effects, or light distortion have all failed. If the face can be inferred, even for a moment, the result is the same. SCP-096 is not hostile by nature. It does not hunt. It does not choose. It reacts, and it only reacts to one thing: being known. Not all breaches happen in containment. Some begin in living rooms, tourist trails, or inside forgotten file folders on the wrong server. SCP-096 has been involved in 7 recorded civilian events. Each began the same way: a photo, a frame, a detail in the background, unnoticed until it wasn't. Case 096-Delta, the hiking group, Yosemite National Park. 3 friends, 1 DSLR camera. They didn't see him. Not while hiking, not while laughing. But one photo, later posted online, captured something at the edge of the tree line. A pale shape, hands over its face. 72 hours later, all 3 were dead. 2 inside their locked apartment, one on a train hundreds of kilometers away. Walls torn apart, cabin doors destroyed. No survivors? No survivors. Except the man who saw the photo but never looked at it directly. He had posted the image without opening the preview. That man lives in a Foundation facility now, blindfolded, permanently. Case 096 Sierra, the documentarian, an independent filmmaker, compiling footage for a horror series. He found a set of tapes from an abandoned European asylum, included in a reel. 3 frames of SCP-096 walking through a hall. He imported the footage, scrubbed it frame by frame. His last transmission reads, "I think there's something in the hallway. It's not in every frame, but I think it's moving." That night, he was found, scattered, across 4 floors. No footage remained intact, only a melted USB stick embedded in the wall. The Foundation now operates Project BLINDNET-, an autonomous AI surveillance filter that detects potential sightings. Before human eyes can, it flags photos, deletes images, closes servers. But it is not perfect, and the internet is infinite, even now. Somewhere, someone may have SCP-096's face on an old drive, a printed photo, a shared file. Forgotten, until it's opened, until it's seen. And then, there is no place to hide. They called it Blackout Zero, the breach that didn't just expose SCP-96, it exposed the limits of control. It started with a satellite, an atmospheric imaging unit operated by the Global Meteorological Initiative, tasked with tracking pressure systems over the Carpathian Range. Routine scan, high-altitude pass. One frame, captured by accident, showed something walking alone along a snow ridge. Pale, bent forward, face just barely visible. That image passed through 5 international servers. It was reviewed by 6 people and shared with an external data contractor in Canada. No one knew what they were looking at, but the moment it was seen, SCP-096 began moving. It broke through the reinforced doors of Containment Site Orpheus in less than 40 seconds, ignored security measures, destroyed armored intercept vehicles without slowing down. Over the next 119 minutes, it crossed 3 borders, a frozen coastline, and most of the North Atlantic. No jet, no tracker, just purpose. It wasn't hunting, it was responding. The Foundation initiated full-spectrum blackout across 6 countries. Broadcasts were jammed, civilian air traffic grounded, entire cities pushed into enforced silence. But it was already too late. By the time it reached the final technician in Alberta, dozens were already dead. Some were torn apart inside secure data centers, others in moving trains, windowless rooms, even blindfolded. It didn't matter. Once you had seen the face, you were part of the end. Only one person survived, a junior systems analyst in Brussels. He had opened the file, but his monitor froze mid-load. All he saw was a gray blur. The creature never came for him. He never speaks now. But every night he wakes up crying. He says he still hears footsteps. SCP-096 returned to the Foundation on its own, crossed 400 kilometers of rural Iceland, entered the access tunnels to Outpost Petra, walked into its cell, sat down, and began to cry. It hasn't moved since. It hasn't looked up. It hasn't spoken. But we know why. The Foundation no longer treats SCP-96 as a biological threat. It is not a creature, not an organism. It is an event, a reaction waiting to be triggered, and all it takes is a single frame. After Blackout Zero, there were no more illusions. SCP-096 was no longer viewed as a creature. It became a phenomenon, a law of reaction, as immutable as gravity. The science division stopped running physical containment tests. Instead, they turned to metaphysics, to cognition theory, to symbolic logic. And for the first time, they started asking the wrong questions, which were, perhaps, the right ones. Some researchers began comparing SCP-096 to ancient cultural archetypes, the Gorgon, the Angel of Death, the Eye of God, entities that kill not by touch or will, but by being seen. What if SCP-096 doesn't react to vision? What if it reacts to recognition, to awareness? One senior theorist from Site Concord wrote this: SCP-096 does not punish the viewer. It completes them. It finishes the equation of perception. The moment you see it, a new rule of reality is born, and it ends with your absence. Others propose that it's not reacting to being seen, but to being known, that the entity does not want to exist, and that recognition itself is a violation. Debates emerged in the ethics committee, not about how to contain 096-, but whether it was even moral to do so. Was it suffering? Was it conscious? Was its crying grief or guilt? No one had answers, but one thing became clear. SCP-096 is not a killer. It's a reflex, like pain when you touch fire, like screaming when the world looks too closely. And so, the Foundation stopped treating it like a subject. No more interviews, no more observers. Its chamber was sealed, not as a prison, but as an act of silence, a gesture of respect, or mercy, or fear, because maybe SCP-096 isn't just hiding its face. Maybe it's hiding something else, and it knows that if we ever truly understood it, we wouldn't be able to live with what we'd seen. SCP-096 doesn't hate, it doesn't hunt, it doesn't speak, it hides. And yet, there is no entity in Foundation custody more feared, not because of what it is, but because of what it reflects. We live in an age of seeing. Every screen, a window. Every face, a photo. Every moment, a record. And all it takes is one frame, just one image, a forgotten snapshot, a blurred silhouette in the corner of a friend's hiking photo, a frame skipped too quickly in an old video. You wouldn't know. You wouldn't feel anything. Not until the crying starts. Not until it's too late. You don't need to believe in SCPs for them to believe in you. And you don't need to look for them. Sometimes they are already on your hard drive, already cached in your device, already waiting. Because SCP-096 doesn't break through walls. It breaks through certainty. It is the horror of being known, the fear that something out there sees you and cannot allow you to live with that knowledge. The Foundation still contains SCP-096, technically. Its chamber is deep beneath the Icelandic bedrock, sealed by blind machines. No guards, no monitors, only silence. But sometimes, during system maintenance, an engineer reports hearing something through the insulation, a cry, a sob, or maybe just a voice saying, "I didn't mean to be seen." Thank you for observing with us another file from the Containment Zone. If you're still with us, check your screen, check your windows, check your memories, and above all else, never look at the face.